of the media, evening coach. Welcome to today's post-match press conference. If you may just give us a brief summary of the match from your perspective.
Good evening, everyone. We knew that this game was going to be an extremely difficult game. Yes, they come off a loss, obviously in the Champions League, and they came wounded to this game. But a wounded lion can be very, very dangerous. So we needed to prep ourselves as best as we possibly could, knowing that we had very, very little time in between our last game and this one against Galaxy. They themselves, obviously coming back from Egypt, didn't have a lot of time to prepare for this game. So it was more based down to the recovery and then a lot of tactical analysis and sitting with the players, giving them a general idea in terms of how we want to play this match. We opted to come into this match with a 4-4-2 system, playing with the two strikers. Idea behind that was looking to try and peg their defensive midfielder back with the two central defenders. In the first half, that didn't really happen. The two centre-backs were comfortable enough to go against our two strikers. And for that reason, in the first half, we struggled because they had a lot of possession through the middle. The idea was to try and prevent that from happening. The 6 and the 2 8s, Dlamini will join, he becomes an 8, he becomes a 10. The rotation between those three, we were looking to try and prevent that from happening, but in the first half, they were having a lot of success through the middle. Then out wide, Mofokeng now playing obviously a 10 role today. Obviously then having Hotto in a wing position, Machopa up front. There's a lot of rotation, particularly on the left-hand side, and we struggled to deal with that. So in that first half, through the middle, they were hurting us. Out wide on the left-hand side, they were hurting us, they were catching us. But, we were resolute defensively. They had entries, final entries, but no real opportunities to score. But the quality that they possess, I felt it was only time till they got that goal. So at half-time, I obviously looked to make changes. I opted to bring on Linda, looked to play with a 10, changed the formation, and I thought we dealt with them a lot better in the second half. Yes, they probably had two of their best chances in the game in the second half, but I thought defensively we looked better. And not only that, I thought once we won the ball, we had more options and better options, because in the first half, we kept giving the ball back to them. We couldn't make 2-3 passes, but in the second half, we started to see a little bit more of combination play. We started to see us looking to break forward on the transitions and creating opportunities. During the week, yesterday we spent most of our training session working on set pieces, because that was definitely one of the weaknesses that we had identified, especially after what we saw in the CAF competition. And, one of our corners ended up in the back of the net. So I think there I have to give a lot of credit to Mark and Paulus in terms of the work that they've done, working on the set plays. And then, I thought we had another 2 great chances. Oizo had a great chance, Boyeli had another great chance, and we possibly could have, got another goal. But second half performance was much, much better. Now to get the 3 points here at Orlando Stadium is not easy. And really, really proud of the group.
We're now open for questions from the floor. As per normal, we've got a roving mic. Please identify yourself as well as the media company you represent prior to asking a question. Are there any questions?
Coach, congratulations on the 3 points. He seems to be living more of a day-to-day life, enjoying football now since he came through. What have you found in him, and what makes him different now that we're seeing these performances that he put up today?
I had a brief stint with Coletso, obviously at Maritzburg. He was there on loan quite a few years back. But I think he's matured. I think, he's matured as a footballer. His discipline has improved immensely. And he takes his profession more serious than what he did in the past. And you can see that he wants to achieve things and he wants to move forward. So now it's about me as the coach giving him a little bit of freedom in order to do that, but at the same time, tactical discipline also becomes a very, very important factor, and I think tonight he done both for me. So very, very happy with the performance that he put on tonight. We know he has great speed, we know he has great ability in 1v1 situations. We know his deliveries, especially from the set plays, are exceptional. So he's becoming a rounded player, that has all the talent and the ability, and just needs to make that next step. I think, a little bit more hard work, a little bit more discipline. When I say discipline, I don't mean off the field, I mean on the field. That sometimes, in South Africa we have a problem with tactical discipline with South African players. They tend to lose themselves in the game, and that's an area that he can still improve on.
Good evening, Coach. Congratulations on the win. Siyasama here from the Sunday World. Let's also talk about your goalkeeper, Ronaldo. Earlier I was having a conversation with one of my seniors to say that since the Sundowns game in the Netball Cup, he has never looked back. Just your take on him, grabbing the opportunity with both hands, and just how far do you think he can go?
Yeah, I think Ronaldo has done very, very well for us. Obviously I identified him when I arrived and saw certain aspects in his game that I thought were very, very positive. And his opportunity came not because Badri was performing poorly. Badri was away with the national team. And, we had that big game, as you mentioned. So he was part and parcel of what we were doing during the week. And for that reason, I made the change. But that's how football works. Unfortunately, sometimes you get an opportunity in life and you grab it, and he did that, so hence the fact that he continues in the starting lineup. I think he's grown over the past 4 or 5 weeks that I've been here, but I think he himself knows there's still a lot of work in front of him. Great shot stopper. I think his feet, he needs to work a lot more on his feet, his distribution, or certain areas of his game that can be worked on. But yeah, stay grounded, don't allow all this success to go to your head too soon and too early. There's still a lot of work ahead for him to become a better goalkeeper, and for now I think that's where he should be. I don't want to be giving way too much praise, because I think there's still a lot of room for improvement.
We'll take the final 3 questions, starting there. Tim Maulid. No. I think Masola started first, raise his hand first, and then, in that order. I'll think about it, Tim.
Evening, Coach Eric. Masola Mlefe from SABC Sport. Would you like your team to return to CAF Confed? Obviously, you've been here just a few months. You've been on the continent with Pirates, with SuperSport, with City. But when you've just arrived and you're still trying to get your DNA in, do you think if they do make third sport or second sport, whatever the case may be, they would be ready? Would you like to fight for that spot?
I joined for that reason, to be honest. So that was the target, that was the objective the day I signed for Sekhukhune, looking at their position where they found themselves at the stage. It was all about us making sure that we could look to try and finish in the top 3, top 4, to try and get into the CAF competition. As I've stated to you before, that's my target, that's my ambition as a coach, is to to be playing in that level competitions. So to see Sekhukhune get there would be a great achievement.
Good evening, Coach. I'm Nell Bo, freelancer journalist. Coach, it's been 6 games in the Betway Premiership. You have won 4, you have drawn 1, you have lost 1. What is it that you're doing right here, Sekhukhune?
Don't know. I don't know. I think, it's just my work ethic. My work ethic, I'm extremely disciplined in terms of my work ethic. Also in terms of my management of the players. I think give the players certain freedom to express themselves, but at the same time making sure that they understand that this is a team sport. This is not an individual sport. It's about the collective. Yes, you may get opportunities going forward, the Coletzos and the Ronaldos, all the people that you've been asking me about. But remember that you're playing for Sekhukhune United, and Sekhukhune United is looking to achieve certain objectives and certain targets, and you need to meet those objectives before you start thinking about yourself in the next phase of your career. Those things will come. But at the same time, I think, respecting the players, very important factor. And then, like I said, I have a winning mentality. I want to win. I want to achieve things. I want to play in CAF competitions. Now, players need to feed off me, my character, my personality. I think all of that is important, and that I give them the confidence and the self-belief.
Good evening, Coach. Congratulations on the victory. I'm Khalid Bukhari from VOFM. Just to follow up on my colleagues, Coach, we are at a stage where teams are fighting for CAF spots, others top 8, others wanting to shy away from the relegation. Now, since your appointment, what would you say are you happy about in terms of the team, and what are improvements that you still need to, implement for you to achieve the CAF spots that you say that you want to achieve?
Yeah, I think ultimately the most important, like I said today, possession. Today we gave away possession, a lot of possession, and against a team like Pirates, you can't give them those opportunities. So we need to be a lot better on the ball. I am a coach that likes to play an attractive game of football. I'm not a coach that likes to just play one dimension and go long. We need to be able to change our game, and I think right now our possession is simply not good enough. Our movement is not good enough. Our intensity is not good enough. These are all aspects that need to be worked on, but it's not the time of the season to be doing that, because the games are coming thick and fast now. So I think we just try and keep to the basics, and then obviously for next season I want to try and implement a little bit more of my game model and my game system, and an understanding of how I want the team to play, and look to play more attractive football than what we did tonight.
Right. Bonus round. Bonus round.
Coach, same along the lines of CAF. You've been here, you've gone the furthest with Orlando Pirates. You're one of the coaches who almost won it. What do you make of their recent run, looking at where they went, how they went, the excitement, the euphoria that came with the dream final for both South African teams? Just take us through your emotions, knowing that you've been here, you've done that, and you're also looking forward to it as well.
I know, I was obviously emotionally upset, after especially the way they ended up being knocked out, It was a difficult game against Pyramids away, but the fact that they went there and they got the 2 goals, I really thought at that stage that they had made it through, so would have loved to have seen obviously 2 South African teams in the final, because it's representative for South Africa. It's about time that we start seeing that in our country, that we should be one of the top nations across the continent of Africa, and to be able to see 2 big clubs like Sundowns and Pirates in the final, I think that would have been a magical situation, but disappointment as well, the way they ended up losing it. But that's football. You know, you win some, you lose some. One moment from my memory, you know, opportunities that we had when we played away from home. You know, you don't take your chances, and then you end up losing the competition. Same thing, TP Mazembe, when I was at Supersport. You know, you manage to do well away from home, but at home you're not able to get the goal, you know. And yeah, that's just sad situations and the reality. But hard to take.